Hello, my friend. Welcome. Today we travel together to one of the most beautiful cities in the world, Paris. Maybe you've heard of it before. Maybe you've seen pictures of the Eiffel Tower or dreamed of walking beside the River Seine. But this time, you will feel Paris. You will hear it. You will learn English through its story. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you hear the sound of a cafe? The cups, the music, the voices saying, Bonjour, merci, au revoir. Paris is not just a place on a map. It is light, art, and emotion. It is the smell of fresh bread in the morning and the sound of rain on old stone streets. It is history, and it is love. In this audiobook, we will walk through the heart of the city, from its ancient past to its modern beauty. We will meet kings and artists, bakers and dreamers. We will watch the tower rise, the river move, and the people live. Each chapter is a small window into Paris, a window full of English words, beautiful sounds, and true stories. So sit back, take a deep breath, and imagine the light of Paris touching your face. Because this is not only a story about a city, it is a story about life itself. Are you ready? Then let's begin our journey to Paris, the City of Light. Chapter 1, Welcome to Paris. Paris, a name that shines all around the world, a city full of light, love, and dreams. Every year, millions of people come here. They walk beside the River Seine. They look at the tall Eiffel Tower. They drink coffee in small cafes. They take pictures and smile. Paris is not just a place. It is a feeling. It is art, sound, and life together. The city stands in the north of France. It is the capital. It is the biggest city in the country. More than 2 million people live here, and many more come every day. When you arrive in Paris, you can feel it. The air smells like bread and coffee. The streets are full of cars, music, and voices. You can hear French words, bonjour, merci, au revoir. You can see the old buildings with flowers on the balconies. The River Seine moves slowly through the city. There are 37 bridges over it. People walk, read, or draw beside the water. Some just sit and watch the boats. Sometimes you can see a couple holding hands. Sometimes a man selling books. Sometimes a painter showing his art. Paris is called the City of Light. Why? Because it was one of the first cities in Europe to have streetlights. Long ago, in the 1800s, the lamps made the nights bright and safe. And today, light is still everywhere. On the tower, on the bridges, in the windows, and in people's eyes. At night, the city looks like a dream. The Eiffel Tower shines with golden light. The river reflects it like a mirror. The cafes are full. You can hear people laughing. You can feel the energy of life. But Paris is not only for tourists. It is home for millions. Every morning, people go to work on the metro. Children walk to school with their parents. Bakers open their shops and make croissants. The smell of butter and coffee fills the air. There are rich people and poor people. There are young artists and old men who love chess. There are people from many countries. Africa, Asia, America, and Europe. Paris is a mix of cultures, a mix of faces and languages, and everyone brings something new. New music, new food, new dreams. The city is big, but every part feels like a small world. There is Montmartre with its white church on the hill. There is the Latin Quarter with old universities. There is Le Marais with narrow streets and fashion shops. Each place has its own story, and when you walk through them, you feel the history. The stones are old. The air tells stories. You can almost hear voices from the past. Kings, artists, poets, and revolutionaries. Paris has seen peace and war. It has burned and rebuilt. But it always stands again. Because Paris is strong and beautiful. When you visit Paris, you learn something. You learn to look slowly, to listen carefully, to feel small things, a bird on a lamp, a song in the street, a child with a balloon. This is what the city teaches. To see life not only with your eyes, but with your heart. So, welcome to Paris. Welcome to the city of light, art, and hope. In the next chapters, we will walk through its history. We will see how it began and how it became what it is today. The city is waiting for you. Are you ready to walk beside the Seine and feel its light? Chapter 2. A long, long time ago. Close your eyes and imagine Paris a very long time ago. No lights, no cars, no cafes, only trees, water, and quiet air. More than 2,000 years ago, a small group of people lived beside the river Seine. They were called the Parisi. They fished in the river. They hunted animals in the forest. They made fires to stay warm at night. It was simple life, but it was the beginning of Paris. Then came the Romans. They arrived in the 1st century before Christ. They built a new town on a small island in the river. They called it Lutetia. It was the first city on this land. They made stone roads and strong bridges. They built baths, markets, and temples. The Romans liked comfort and order. They brought both to this small island. People lived, worked, and traded here. Boats came with food and wine. Merchants sold gold, glass, and clothes. The city grew little by little. The river Seine was like a road. It carried life through the land. After many years, the Roman Empire became weak. Soldiers left. Lutetia changed. New people came. New leaders ruled. The city got a new name, Paris, after the first people, the Parisi. During the Middle Ages, Paris became stronger. Kings built walls around it to keep enemies away. Churches rose high in the sky. One of them was very special, Notre Dame. It took more than 100 years to build. Tall towers, big bells, and colorful glass windows. People came from all over France to see it. They said it was like touching heaven. Life in Paris was not easy then. The streets were small and dirty. There were no lights at night, but the city was full of work, noise, and dreams. Farmers brought food from the countryside. Blacksmiths made tools. Students studied at the new university. Paris became the heart of knowledge and art. Later, kings built palaces and bridges. One of them was the Louvre Palace, which today is the most famous museum in the world. Back then, it was a home for kings and queens. the city began to look royal. Big, proud, and beautiful. But time changed everything. Wars came. Fires destroyed streets. People fought for power. Still, Paris always stood again, like a flower after the rain. In the 1600s and 1700s, Paris grew richer and more elegant. Writers, artists, and thinkers came to live here. They talked in cafes. They dreamed of freedom and new ideas. They said, "We can change the world." And one day, they did. But that is another story. A story of fire and revolution. We will hear it soon. For now, remember this. Paris was not built in a day. It took centuries of hope and hard work. It was built by people, ordinary men and women, who believed in beauty and life. When you walk through Paris today, look at the stones of the bridges. Look at the walls of the old churches. They are history. They are memory. They are the voice of time. So next time you see Notre Dame or cross the river on a sunny afternoon, think of the first people, the Parisi. Think of the Romans building their city. Think of all the lives before yours walking the same streets, looking at the same sky. Because every step you take in Paris is a step through history. Chapter 3: The Eiffel Tower. There it is, tall, strong, and shining in the sky. The Eiffel Tower, the heart of Paris, the dream of millions. When people think of Paris, they think of this tower. It is not just a building. It is a story made of iron and hope. Let's go back to the year 1889. Paris was preparing for a big world exhibition. Countries from everywhere were coming to show their ideas, their inventions, their future. France wanted something special, something the world would never forget. A man named Gustave Eiffel had an idea. He was an engineer. He worked with bridges and metal. He said, "Let's build a tower of iron, 300 meters high." Many people laughed. They said, "It will be ugly, too big, too strange." Artists and writers signed letters against it. They didn't want it in Paris. But Eiffel didn't stop. He believed in his dream. Day after day, workers brought heavy iron pieces. They worked in the cold, in the rain, and in the wind. They used more than 18,000 pieces of metal. Step by step, the tower grew taller. At first, it was just a skeleton. Then it reached the clouds. When it was finished, it became the tallest building in the world. People came from everywhere to see it. They looked up and said, "Wow, this is the future." The tower had 3 levels. On the first floor, there were restaurants and places to rest. On the second floor, you could see the whole city. And from the top, you could see the river, the parks, and the shining roofs of Paris. At night, the tower glowed with light. It became a symbol of progress and beauty. Even those who hated it slowly began to love it. But the Eiffel Tower was not always safe. During wars, people feared it might fall. In the Second World War, the Germans came to Paris. They wanted to hang their flag on the tower. But the people of Paris cut the elevator cables. If the soldiers wanted to go up, they had to climb the stairs. All the way. After the war, the tower stood again. Free and proud. It became the soul of the city. Today, millions visit it every year. Some go up to the top. Some just sit by the river and look at it. Every night, it shines with golden lights. And every hour, it sparkles like a star. The tower is more than metal. It is a lesson. A lesson about dreams. About not giving up. When Gustave Eiffel looked at his creation, he said, "I built it for France." But today, it belongs to everyone. To all who believe in beauty and courage. Children draw it in school. Couples take pictures under it. Writers describe it in poems. And travelers carry it in their hearts. The Eiffel Tower tells us, every dream starts small. Every dream needs patience. Sometimes people laugh. Sometimes they say, "It's impossible." But one day, the world looks up and sees it shining. So next time you see the tower, look carefully. Think of the hands that built it, the hope that shaped it, the courage that lifted it high into the sky. Because the Eiffel Tower is not only made of iron, it is made of faith. And that is why it will always stand. Chapter 4. Life Beside the Seine. The River Seine. It moves slowly through the heart of Paris. It has seen everything. Kings, wars, love, and peace. It is the city's mirror. Without it, Paris would not be Paris. The Seine divides the city into two sides. On one side, you find the left bank full of students, artists, and cafes. On the other, the right bank, busy with shops, banks, and famous buildings. Between them are bridges, beautiful, strong, and full of life. Every bridge has a story. The oldest one is Pont Neuf, which means new bridge. Even if it is more than 400 years old, people walk across it slowly. They look at the boats below or take pictures of the water shining in the sun. Along the river, life never stops. In the morning, the air is fresh. You can see people running or reading a book by the wall. Old men play chess. Artists open their small stands and sell paintings. They draw the tower, the river, and lovers walking hand in hand. There are also little green boxes on the river walls. They are called bouquinistes. Inside, you can find old books, postcards, and small treasures from the past. When the wind moves the pages, it feels like the city is whispering stories to you. In the afternoon, people sit in cafes near the Seine. They drink coffee, eat croissants, and talk slowly. Tourists walk together holding maps and taking photos. Children throw small pieces of bread into the water to feed the ducks. And then there are the bateaux mouches, the famous boats that move up and down the river. People sit on them to see Paris from the water. They pass under bridges, see Notre Dame Cathedral, the Louvre, and finally the Eiffel Tower shining ahead. At sunset, the sky turns pink and orange. The river reflects the colors like a painting. When night comes, the Seine becomes magic. The lights of the bridges sparkle. Music plays softly from a cafe. You can hear people laughing. Some dance on the riverside. Some walk alone, just watching the lights in silence. The river has many moods. In winter, it sleeps under the gray sky. In spring, it wakes up with flowers and birds. In summer, it smiles. People sit on the walls, eat ice cream, and listen to street musicians. And in autumn, the golden leaves fall slowly into the water. The Seine is like a friend to the city. It listens, it remembers, it carries stories. When Paris is happy, the river shines. When Paris cries, the river stays calm. Many famous writers loved it. Hemingway wrote about it. Victor Hugo looked at it while writing Les Miserables. For them, the river was not just water. It was the soul of Paris. If you walk beside the Seine, you will understand. You will feel something soft and quiet inside. It tells you to slow down, to watch, to breathe, to enjoy the simple beauty of life. Because that is what Paris teaches. Beauty is not only in museums or big buildings. It is here. In the sound of water, in the color of light, in the smile of people passing by. So next time you visit Paris, don't rush. Walk by the Seine. Look at the sky. Listen to the music of the city. And let the river tell you its story. The story of life beside the Seine. Chapter 5. The Art of Paris. Paris is not only a city, it is a painting that never ends. Every street, every wall, every sound feels like art. When people talk about Paris, they talk about beauty. But what is beauty? In Paris, it lives everywhere. In the museums, in the parks, and even in the morning light. Let's start at the most famous place, the Louvre Museum. It was once a palace for kings. Now it is the largest museum in the world. Millions visit it every year. They come to see paintings, statues, and history. Inside, there is one small picture that everyone wants to see, the Mona Lisa. She has a soft smile, a secret smile that never changes. People stand in front of her and whisper, "What is she thinking?" But the Louvre is more than one painting. It is a world of stories. Egyptian mummies, Greek gods, and rooms full of color and time. When you walk inside, you feel small but amazed. It is like traveling through history, with your eyes open wide. Not far away is another place, the Musée d'Orsay. It stands beside the River Seine. It used to be a train station, but now it holds a different kind of power, the power of light. Here you can see paintings by Monet, Renoir, and Van Gogh. They painted with feelings, not only with color. Soft light, gentle people, quiet gardens, their art makes you dream. In Paris, art is not only in museums, it is also in the streets. Go to Montmartre, a hill in the north of the city. Here, artists paint in small squares. You can watch them work. You can see the white church of Sacré-Cœur, shining above the city. From the top, the view is wide and peaceful. You can see all of Paris from there. The roofs, the tower, the river. It feels like the whole city is a painting. Walk down the hill and you'll hear music. You'll see street art on the walls, bright colors, faces, and words. Art in Paris never sleeps. It lives in people's hearts. In the evening, the art changes again. Lights turn on, shadows move, cafes glow like little stages. Writers open their notebooks, singers play guitars by the bridges. The city becomes a living artwork. Even the buildings tell stories. Look at the Opera Garnier, with golden statues on its roof. Look at the Grand Palais, with glass shining like ice. Even the old doors and windows are decorated like poems made of stone. Paris teaches something important. Art is not only for museums, it is part of life. It is in how people dress, how they walk, how they say bonjour. Every artist who came to Paris found something different, a color, a sound, a feeling. Picasso found freedom. Van Gogh found pain and light. Monet found peace in water and sky. And every traveler today can still find something new. When you look at Paris, you don't just see beauty. You feel it. You feel that art can live anywhere, in a cafe cup, in a song, in a sunset. So next time you walk through Paris, open your eyes like an artist. Look at the light on the river. Look at the faces of people passing by. Everything here is a part of the same painting. The great endless art of Paris. Chapter 6. Food and Cafes. Paris smells like coffee in the morning. It smells like bread, butter, and something sweet. Food is not just food here. It is a way of life. People in Paris don't rush to eat. They sit, they talk, they enjoy. Every meal is a small celebration. Let's start with breakfast. Le petit déjeuner. It means the little lunch. On the table, there is always fresh bread, a baguette, long, thin, and golden. Sometimes there are croissants, soft and warm, with butter that melts. You dip your bread in coffee or hot chocolate. You eat slowly and watch the city wake up. The bakeries open early. The smell of fresh bread fills the streets. People stand in line to buy baguettes. You can hear the sound, crack, when they break the crust. It's a sound that means home in Paris. At lunch, people like to eat together. Maybe at a small bistro near work. They order quiche, salad, or warm soup. Sometimes they drink a small glass of wine. Lunch is a time to rest, to talk, to laugh, to breathe. In the afternoon, cafes come alive. You can see them everywhere. On corners, in small streets near the river, chairs face the street. People sit outside, even when it's cold. They drink espresso, read the newspaper, and watch life move by. Tourists love to sit in cafes too. They look at the Eiffel Tower or the Seine. They take pictures of coffee cups and croissants. And yes, it really looks like a movie. But Paris cafes are not just for visitors. Writers come here with notebooks. Students talk about dreams and love. Old friends share stories. Every table has a story. Then comes dinner, the most important meal of the day. People eat late, around 8 or 9. Dinner is quiet and full of flavor. There might be cheese and meat, vegetables, and fresh bread again. At the end, dessert. Perhaps crème brûlée or tarte au citron with sweet lemon taste. Food in Paris is about detail. It is about how things look, how they smell, how they make you feel. Even a simple sandwich is made with care. In the evening, lights shine on cafe windows. You can hear music, a soft piano, a jazz guitar, or an accordion. Couples hold hands across the table. Friends raise glasses and say, "Santé," to health. The sound of voices mixes with the smell of food. it feels warm, happy, alive. There are many kinds of food in Paris. You can taste the world here. Italian pasta, Moroccan couscous, Japanese sushi, and of course, French classics. Because Paris is a city of travelers, and every person brings their flavor. Still, the heart of French food stays simple. Good bread, good cheese, good wine, and time to enjoy it. When you eat in Paris, you learn something deeper. You learn to slow down, to taste, to notice, to say, this moment is enough. So next time you visit Paris, don't just walk fast with your camera. Sit in a cafe, order a coffee and a croissant, watch the people, listen to the sounds, feel the rhythm of the city. Because in Paris, every bite, every sip is part of the story of love, art, and the simple joy of food. Chapter 7. The French Revolution. Paris was not always peaceful. Long ago, the streets were full of fear, hunger, and anger. The people were tired. They had no bread. They had no hope. This was the time of the French Revolution. It began in the year 1789, and it changed France forever. At that time, France had a king, Louis XVI, and a queen, Marie Antoinette. They lived in a beautiful palace called Versailles, far from the poor people of Paris. They had gold, food, and music, while many people in the city had nothing to eat. Every day, workers carried heavy loads. Mothers looked for bread for their children. Taxes were high. Life was hard. The people said, "This is not fair." In cafes and small rooms, men and women began to talk. They read books about freedom. They spoke about new ideas, about equality and justice. They said, all people should have the same rights. These words were powerful. They were dangerous too. One summer day in July, the people had enough. They went to a big prison in Paris, the Bastille. They broke the gates, fought the soldiers, and set the prisoners free. It was July 14th, 1789. The day France changed. Today, this date is still a national holiday, Bastille Day. After that, everything moved fast. The king lost his power. People took control of the city. They made a new government, and they wrote new laws for freedom. But the fight was not easy. There was fear in the streets. People didn't know who to trust. Some shouted for liberty, others wanted revenge. The sound of drums filled the air. Every day, more people joined the fight. In 1793, the king was arrested. He was taken to a large square in Paris, Place de la Révolution. There, a new machine stood tall, the guillotine. Crowds came to watch. It was a sad and shocking day. King Louis XVI was executed. Later, the Queen too. Paris cried. But it also changed. The revolution brought new hope. It said that every person matters. It said that power must come from the people, not from kings. For a few years, the country was in chaos. Leaders came and went. There was blood, there was pain. But slowly, the dream of freedom grew stronger. Out of this fire came new symbols. The French flag, with blue, white, and red. And a new song, the Marseillaise, a song of courage and unity. Later, a man named Napoleon Bonaparte rose to power. He promised order after the storm. He made France strong again. But that is another story. A story for another time. The French Revolution began in anger, but it ended with an idea. That people could change the world. That even the poor, the weak, the hungry could stand up and say, "We have rights." When you walk through Paris today, you can still see signs of that time. The Place de la Concorde, the National Assembly, and the old stones of the Bastille. They all whisper the same word: liberté, freedom. The French Revolution was not perfect. It was dark and bright at the same time. But it taught the world something powerful, that every human voice can matter. So, when you hear the word Paris, don't think only of lights and cafes. Remember also the fire, the courage, and the dream that began here. A dream called freedom. Chapter 8. Modern Paris. Paris today is a city of old and new. History walks beside modern life. Stone buildings stand next to glass towers. Church bells mix with car horns, and people from all over the world live here together. When you walk through the streets, you can feel the mix. A man in a suit walks fast to work. A student rides a bike with headphones. A baker opens her shop and smiles. Tourists take photos near the Eiffel Tower. Children play football in the park. It is all Paris, one big heartbeat. The metro runs under the city. It is like a secret river of movement. Every day, millions of people use it. They go to school, to jobs, to friends. The trains are old but fast. And every station has its own style. Some are full of color, some full of music. You never feel alone down there. Above the ground, the city shines. New buildings rise in the business area called La Défense. Tall towers of glass reflect the clouds. At night, they sparkle like stars. Far away, the Eiffel Tower still watches. The same old queen in a city that keeps changing. Technology is everywhere. People pay with phones, read on screens, and speak many languages. Paris has become a world city. You can hear Arabic, English, Spanish, and Chinese on the same street. It is modern, but still very French. Cafes are still full. Bakers still make croissants. And people still talk about life, love, and art. But now, you also see electric scooters, self-driving buses, and bicycles with QR codes. The city moves faster, but it still keeps its charm. Modern Paris is also a city of ideas. Students study design, fashion, and science. Artists paint walls with colors of hope. Writers type in small rooms just like they did long ago. The city inspires them. It tells them, create, believe, keep going. There are challenges too. The streets can be noisy and crowded. Rents are high. Life is not always easy for everyone. But Paris always finds balance between dream and reality, between old and new. If you go to Montparnasse, you will see tall buildings and offices. If you walk to Le Marais, you will find small shops and narrow streets. If you visit Belleville, you will hear music from Africa, Asia, and Latin America. All these parts make one city, diverse, living, beautiful, and art continues to grow. New museums like La Fondation Louis Vuitton, show modern art in shiny glass shapes. The Centre Pompidou looks strange and colorful, like a building turned inside out. Some love it, some don't. But that's Paris, a city that dares to be different. In the evenings, lights turn the city gold. People meet by the river. Some talk, some read, some just watch the water move. And when the Eiffel Tower begins to sparkle, everyone stops for a moment. It feels like magic. Old magic, living in a modern world. Modern Paris is not only about buildings and machines. It is about people, dreamers, workers, students, and families. It is about finding beauty in the middle of change. Paris shows us that history never dies. It just learns to dance with the future. So when you see a train pass under the old bridge, or a young artist painting beside a computer screen, remember, Paris is always changing and always the same. Chapter 9. Night in Paris. The sun goes down behind the rooftops. The sky turns gold, then pink, then deep blue. Paris changes. The busy city becomes soft and calm. It is time for the night. The lights come on slowly. Street lamps, cafes, bridges, windows. The River Seine shines like a silver ribbon. The Eiffel Tower begins to glow, and when the clock strikes the hour, the tower sparkles with thousands of lights. For 5 minutes, it looks like magic. People stop and watch in silence. Some smile, some whisper. No one ever forgets it. At night, Paris speaks in a new voice. You can hear the soft sound of jazz, coming from a small cafe. A singer with a guitar plays under a bridge. The music mixes with the wind, and it feels like the whole city is breathing. Along the river, couples walk hand in hand. Friends sit on the stone walls, talking and laughing. A man sells roses. A woman paints the moonlight on her canvas. The air smells of rain and perfume. It is peaceful and alive. In Montmartre, the white church of Sacré-Cœur shines above the city like a guardian. From there, you can see all of Paris, the roofs, the lights, the dreams. Below, the streets are full of music and color. Artists draw portraits under small lamps. Dancers move to soft accordion tunes. Every corner feels like a little movie scene. Farther away, in the Latin Quarter, students sit outside cafes. They drink coffee and talk about books, about love, about the future. Their voices rise and fall like a poem. It is the sound of youth and hope. In the parks, everything is quiet. The trees move gently in the night wind. The fountains whisper. Sometimes, a cat walks across the path. The stars shine above, watching the sleeping city. And in the distance, the great buildings rest. Notre Dame, the Louvre, the Opera, the bridges and statues. All of them have stories to tell. Stories of kings and artists, of love and war, of people who dreamed before us. Taxi lights move like fireflies through the streets. The smell of warm bread comes from a bakery. Even at midnight, the city works and dreams. Some nights it rains. The streets shine like glass. You can see the reflections of lights like little rivers on the ground. People walk under umbrellas, and the city feels romantic, soft, alive. For many, Paris at night is a feeling. The feeling of being part of something beautiful. You don't need to speak. You just need to see, to listen, to feel. Writers have tried to describe it. Painters have tried to capture it. But no one can take all of it. Because Paris at night is not only what you see. It's what you feel inside. Maybe it is the light. Maybe it is the music. Maybe it is the history that lives in the air. But one thing is true. Paris never sleeps. It only dreams with open eyes. So when you walk here at night, slow down. Look at the river. Listen to the quiet voices of the city. Let the light touch your face. And remember this moment. Because when morning comes, the cafes will open again and life will start once more. But the night in Paris will stay in your heart forever.